Why is it that so many men, no matter how tough or successful they look on the outside, never truly heal inside? Why do they stay haunted by the same old pain, chasing respect, money, or approval that never fills the emptiness? In this episode, Theo Von sat down with rapper Kevin Gates, a man known not just for his music, but for his brutally honest takes on life, struggle, and mental battles. Together, they explored deep waters that most people, especially men, never dare to swim in. What Kevin shares is raw and often surprising. It flips the idea of toughness on its head. In this video, we're breaking down 10 powerful takeaways from their conversation, each one uncovering something about why most guys never heal inside and what it actually takes to stop living hurt. Takeaway 1. Why most guys never heal inside. Kevin Gates admits that for much of his life he was driven by a dark hunger for validation that he did not even recognize. He says most of the things he did that looked brave or even violent were actually acts of fear or desperate bids to earn stripes from older men who never showed him real love. Imagine a young boy hustling on the streets, risking jail or worse, not because he was truly fearless, but because he was terrified of being seen as weak. Gates opens up about how he hated himself so much that he could not even laugh at his own mistakes, always listening to a cruel voice inside telling him he was never enough. He says most men live that way for years, piling up tough experiences, but never learning how to process their pain. They show off new cars or big muscles, but inside they still feel like scared little boys. Gates realized this pattern only after he nearly ended his own life in 2020. Feeling appreciated only for what he could do, never for who he really was. It is a haunting truth that hits close to home for many men who are always trying to prove something, never healing the wounds that started long ago. And once Kevin exposed this painful truth, he started finding surprising ways to deal with it. Takeaway 2. Learning to laugh and love himself. One of the most freeing moments Kevin Gates describes is when he finally learned to laugh at himself. For years, he lived with such harsh self-judgment that he could not crack a smile at his own flaws. Even small slip-ups felt like personal attacks on his worth. He tells how one day he made a mistake, paused, and then, for the first time ever, chuckled to himself and said, "Man, Kevin." In that tiny moment, a lifetime of hidden shame started to melt. He jokes about being called Titty Man because he used to have such big man breasts that babies tried to nurse on him. Where once that would have crushed him, now he laughs along, even proud of how far he has come. Gates says being able to poke fun at himself means he no longer fears being exposed as imperfect. Instead, he sees it as a chance to connect more honestly with himself and with others. That simple shift made life feel lighter, as if he finally gave himself permission to just be human. Of course, finding that self-kindness did not come out of nowhere. It grew from a whole new way of looking at life. Takeaway 3. A new philosophy on becoming better. Kevin Gates explains that true growth did not start for him until he began spending time alone, without the noise of other people's opinions or distractions. He says solitude was where he could finally hear his own thoughts clearly and figure out what he really valued. Instead of only chasing money, status, or the next high, he started asking what kind of human he wanted to be. Gates believes most people never pause long enough to get honest with themselves. They keep moving from one thing to the next, scared of what silence might reveal. He shares how he taught himself to flip bad moments into signs that something good might be coming. So when his plans fall apart, or people let him down, he now thinks, "This must be a test. Something big is about to happen." That shift from panic to curiosity is part of why he no longer feels trapped by fear. Gates calls this mindset his real secret to evolving, because it keeps him looking forward instead of stuck in regret. With that new foundation, he found ways to build daily habits that backed it up. Takeaway 4. Fitness without ego or fake toughness. Kevin Gates sees working out as one of the purest ways he takes care of his mind. But unlike many men who go to the gym just to look powerful or to show off, he refuses to let ego run the show. Gates avoids lifting the heaviest weights just to impress others. Instead, he focuses on moving at his own pace, getting exactly what he came for, whether it is a lighter session or a harder one. He remembers when he used to look at guys on steroids and beat himself up for not having a six-pack, calling himself fat because someone online said, "If you ain't got abs, you fat homie." Now, he says he only wanted to look good enough for his clothes to fit well, not to prove anything to strangers. Gates also warns about how comparing yourself to others, even in the gym, is a trap that stops real healing. His rule is simple. Avoid becoming the man who is outwardly strong, but still crushed by old pain inside. That is the only way to stay free. That honesty about physical pride sets the stage for some of the more playful parts of his story. Takeaway 5. Funny Louisiana moments with Theo Von. Kevin Gates and Theo Von share plenty of laughs as they swap stories about growing up in Louisiana, a place full of unique humor and rough lessons. Theo jokes that the first time he heard of Kevin Gates, he thought it was a subdivision in Bogalusa because a girl asked him, "Have you heard of Kevin Gates?" Gates also remembers a Super Bowl trip where everyone on the limo bus was glued to their phones, while he just sat there practicing breathwork, looking like the happiest man alive. They laugh about old YMCA days and how free dress days at school were terrible if you were poor, like the time Gates wore his mom's jeans and got teased for having faded white knees. Gates turns even his titty man phase into a funny badge of honor, telling how babies tried to breastfeed off him and how people at the gym now greet him saying, "Hey, not titty man anymore." These stories show a man who can finally laugh about where he came from. Still, behind those laughs are deeper roots tied to the harsh world he grew up in. We're halfway through the video. Thanks for sticking with us. If you're enjoying it, hit the thumbs up and share it in your WhatsApp groups. If you'd like to support us, please tap the thanks button below. It helps us keep making great content. Drop a comment and don't forget to hit subscribe for more. Now let's continue with the video. Takeaway 6. Hard lessons from Louisiana streets. Kevin Gates paints a vivid picture of his early days hustling in Baton Rouge, where respect was earned by grinding hard, not by following safe rules. He started with legit work at a car wash, proudly learning how to clean cars properly, doing the body first and the dirty fender wells last. But it was not long before he dabbled in illegal hustles too, because in his neighborhood, the guys with money and cars were the only ones the girls cared about. Gates says all he ever wanted was a car, some cash, a girlfriend, and a gun, because that is all he saw around him. When Theo laughs about how people called stacks of cash racks, Gates nods, knowing that flashing money was just another way of trying to feel big in a small world. That street chase for validation laid the groundwork for years of emotional wounds. Eventually, it also led to the most life-changing chapter of all. Takeaway 7. What prison really taught Kevin Gates. Prison could have destroyed Kevin Gates, but he says it ended up forcing him to rethink everything. In Louisiana, he explains, prison is mostly designed to keep people coming back. It is not a place that wants to help you change. Still, Gates found ways to grow by earning credits and getting a degree through constant testing, proving he was smarter than the system expected. Later, in an Illinois prison, he experienced real programs that helped men actually become better, so they would not return. Gates also learned to keep careful records of everything after a parole mix-up sent him back for traveling, even when he had prior approval. That taught him to stay organized and protect himself. Even though he does not miss prison at all, it was inside those walls that he discovered unexpected tools for true healing. Which brings us to one of the most surprising things he ever tried. Takeaway 8. Yoga and breathwork saved his mind. Kevin Gates first thought yoga was just for women or soft men. When a friend suggested it in prison, he laughed it off, saying, "Man, you go in there and bend over. I am not doing that." But curiosity finally won, and after a few poses, he ran to the bathroom to throw up, shocked by how intensely his body reacted. That experience, he says, cut his appetite and showed him how much emotional poison was trapped inside. Later, Doing pigeon pose, he broke down crying, until his instructor told him it was just an emotional detox, old pain leaving his muscles. Gates also became hooked on box breathing, a technique used by Navy SEALs, where you breathe in, hold, breathe out, and hold each for 4 counts. He now says if he skips yoga, he feels off balance because it is the tool that helps him truly calm his mind. For a man who once only knew toughness, discovering yoga was like finding a secret door to freedom. And all of this has shaped how he faces the world today. Takeaway 9. Living fearless and ignoring outside judgment. Kevin Gates says most people stay stuck because they are too scared of what others think. He admits he once refused to date certain girls just because his friends might laugh. Only later did he realize he missed out on some of the most solid people because he cared too much about gossip. Now he says he does not live to be liked, because trying to please everyone means you stand for nothing. Gates believes being authentic is the only way to avoid staying damaged inside. He even named one of his upcoming albums "Don't Know What I'm Doing," openly admitting he is still figuring life out. By not hiding behind fake confidence, he finally feels at peace. All of which also ties back into the art that first put him on the map. Takeaway 10. Music as a mirror of his healing. Amid all these deep changes, Kevin Gates is still pushing his music forward. He recently dropped "I'm Him Too" and says Luca Brasi 4 is on the way. But unlike before, he is no longer making songs just to seem tough or to please crowds. His lyrics now carry the honesty of a man who knows what it means to nearly destroy himself, then crawl back to life. Gates uses music to process all he has learned about fear, validation, ego, and finally loving who he is. That is why his fans feel such a deep connection. They are not just hearing catchy lines, but witnessing someone who broke the cycle most men never escape. So when Kevin Gates says most guys never heal inside, he is not guessing. He lived it, nearly died from it, and then rebuilt himself piece by piece. His story is messy, painful, even funny at times, but it proves one thing. Healing takes brutal honesty and the courage to stop caring what everyone else thinks. What about you? Are you living tough on the outside but still hiding old wounds? Maybe it is time to start laughing at yourself, breathing through the pain, and finding out who you really are underneath all that armor. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support this channel, hit the thanks button below. It really helps us keep going. If you enjoyed this summary, please leave a like and share it in your WhatsApp groups. To join discussion about this video, drop a comment below. And for more videos like this, hit the subscribe button below.